Hey, it's the off season. I can talk about what I want to talk about. So, I came across this article. It was posted onto our Detroit Red Wings, and it's an article on the Fansided version of the New York Rangers section. You know what Fansided is? It's a media outlet where people can contribute articles from a perspective catering to different fan bases of different teams. This version of Fansided is BlueLineStation.com, which is the New York Rangers version of Fansided, and there was this article published earlier this week called "Steve Yzerman is upset that the Rangers won the draft lottery? Boo-hoo. Poor Steve." And this article was posted onto our Detroit Red Wings, and I was like, yo, this is bold. This is bold right here, and I wanted to talk about it because some of the ideas presented in this article definitely do have me kind of, it kind of gets the blood kind of boiling a little bit because I'm a guy who I'm not even a Red Wings number one fan. The Red Wings are my third favorite team, but I'm a guy who does talk about the Red Wings a lot to the point where I understand what exactly it is that's going on with this team. I understand the context of how this team plays, who's in their prospect pool, and I know what exactly is the plan or what looks to be the plan going into the future and how these guys are going to become better. And so, okay, let's just stop explaining the context. Let's go into the article. Steve Yzerman upset the Rangers won the draft lottery. Boo-hoo. Poor Steve. The article opens up talking about the same discussion we spoke about a week ago, talking about Steve Yzerman and his whole push to changing the draft lottery format as we know it. This was noted by Elliot Friedman a few days ago, and it was published in a short Sportsnet article highlighting what exactly was gone over in the NHL's general manager pooled conference call. It was noted that the Red Wings are the team that is making the biggest push to change the draft lottery format because they were the team that was last by a mile, the worst team we had seen in the salary cap era, and they dropped from first to fourth. Sure, they had the highest individual pick odds at picking first overall, but at the end of the day, that did not happen. In fact, they had a more than 50% chance of dropping to fourth. And you could debate whether or not that, for the worst team in the league, is all too fair. This draft lottery system has been in place ever since 2016, but what this article goes over is the entire draft lottery process as a whole. He notes how the draft lottery even exists because the Pittsburgh Penguins tanked so hard for Mario Lemieux back in the 1980s that eventually there was a lottery put into place to discourage tanking. There's a history lesson over here. We're going to ignore the typos in the article because there are indeed quite a few of those. It talks about how, the draft lottery started up where you can only move up 4 spots, meaning that teams that were in the bottom 5 were guaranteed the number 1 pick. But now, ever since 2016, the new format sees any non-playoff team having an opportunity at winning number 1. And the fact is, there are 3 lotteries now. 1 done for first, 1 done for second, and 1 done for third. It's been this way since 2016, meaning that in 2016, 17, 18, 19, and 20, 5 years, we have had this format. There then is a whole bunch of number splicing going on, saying, okay, in the 25 years in the lottery, the worst team has won the first overall pick 11 times. 18 out of the 25 years that the draft lottery has existed, the number 1 pick was won by a bottom 3 team. Only 3 times in the first 24 years did a team outside the bottom 3 win the first pick. 2017, 2007, and 2000. Don't forget to add the 2020 New York Rangers. I know it says here the first 24 years of the lottery, but include that 25th year and boom, you have yourselves New York. And to be fair, the article does say because of the pandemic, because of the weird circumstances, that's why New York was thrusted in there. But this is where exactly my problem with this idea comes in, because it treats the draft lottery format as if it has been consistent throughout the past 25 years, which is absolutely not the case. We have had a draft lottery done for 25 years, yes, but the draft lotteries that we have seen since 2016 are completely different. There are 3 lotteries done now, not just 1. And the fact is, this 3 lottery system has been in place for 5 seasons, but twice already have we seen the worst team in the NHL drop down to 4th. And sure, 2 out of 5 isn't, it's not a lot, but at the same time, Do that over 50 years. You have 20 teams that are the worst in their seasons, dropping down to 4th overall on average. The whole philosophy that the draft lottery is done to discourage tanking, it does make sense. But the 2 times where we have seen the worst team move down in the draft were 2017 and 2020. Where the Colorado Avalanche were absolute bollocks terrible, and the Detroit Red Wings were even worse than that. These are 2 terrible teams that weren't bad because they were tanking, they were just bad on paper. They were bad on the ice, they were bad statistically, they didn't score any goals. This article goes over a whole bunch of stuff as to why the Red Wings were terrible. How even if they won every single game that they were scheduled to play after the NHL shut down, they still would have been last. They clinched last place in the league a few months before the league was supposed to end on the 82-game schedule. The article then says that Steve Yzerman was upset with the results, that his team dropped down to 4th overall, and then he says this: perhaps Steve should look at his own organization before taking pot shots at a system that is actually working. That's something that I do have a problem with. Looking at their draft history, it's pretty lousy. And then he starts roasting the Red Wings. Oh my gosh. Zadina 2018, you could have had Quinn Hughes. You have the Michael Rasmussen pick in 2017, passing up on Cheadle and Robert Thomas. 2016, Chalowski, you could have had DeBrincat, Gerard or Mete. 2015, Evgeny Svechnikov. And then you also have Besser, Konechny, Beauvillier, all selected after. Oh my gosh, you're really taking the pot shots here at the Red Wings. And to this, I say, how is that even relevant, bro? I don't want to make it seem like the Red Wings have been perfect with their drafting, because they haven't been. That's obvious. Just taking a look at these examples, it does ring true that some better picks could have been made. But what does that have to do with being upset that the draft lottery is the way that it is? I think it's a very valid claim, regardless of the fact that you have some misses over the past few years, to say, yeah, you know, we're the worst team in the league, and now we're in a position where we have a 50% chance of dropping to 4th? What kind of system is this? And the fact is, it was noted in the GM conference article by Friedman that there were teams supporting the Red Wings and actually saying, you know, yeah, I agree, change the draft lottery format. It's been an ongoing topic for quite a long time. Back in 2017, I remember this was a huge deal because in 2017, the 2 worst teams in the league, Colorado and Vancouver, first last and second last, dropped to 4th and 5th overall in the drafts because 3 teams that just came out of nowhere ended up winning number 1, 2, and 3. That was New Jersey, that was Philadelphia, and that was Dallas. Vancouver was pissed off. And a lot of people were saying, you know, why is it that the team that is second last has the same chance percentage-wise of dropping to 4 or 5 than they do of staying in the top 3? They were the second worst team in the league. And Colorado had the same dilemma, but of course, just from my observations, the Colorado Avalanche don't have the same volume of just really crazy fans that Vancouver does, especially here in Vancouver where I live. So obviously it was a bigger deal talking about how Vancouver dropped from 2nd to 5th, even though they were terrible, even though Colorado had the same circumstances, and the Detroit Red Wings exhibited those same circumstances earlier this year. So it definitely does make sense to me, and it's not something that's just like, okay, well, Steve Yzerman, just get better, bro. Just get better. Build a team that doesn't lose a lot, bro. Draft better, bro. That's what the conversation here turns to in the article, talking about how at the end, you know, Steve Yzerman should just go back to the drawing board, figure out how to make his team better without complaining about a system that failed his team once. This conversation on the draft lottery is more than Steve Yzerman. We have seen it over the 5 years that this system has been in place, that sometimes there are some very unjustly results. The fact is, Steve Yzerman has support from other GMs, so it's not even like it's only him who's on this boat too. Other GMs, maybe teams that are not even in the draft lotteries, are saying, yeah, you know, why do we have a chance to win 1st overall? We barely missed out on the playoffs. The old system where it seemed like, okay, the max you can move up is 4 spots, that seems like a lot more of a rational system to me, and you know, it hasn't really failed the league. It's just when Connor McDavid went to the Oilers and the Oilers got their 4th first overall pick in, 5 years, 6 years, something crazy like that, that's kind of when everything changed, and we all can blame Edmonton for it. So I said it in the last video, when Steve Yzerman was reportedly going out there wanting to change the draft lottery, I was on board. And I'm still on board now. It's just, taking a look at this article over here, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to read it yourself, because hey, we're still in quarantine, right? You got nothing else to do at home. Go ahead, check it out, give Fansided some ad views, but yeah. Steve Yzerman. It's not really his fault, you know. I do disagree with the sentiment that this article is presenting, saying that, okay, Steve Yzerman should just suck it up and just move along. So talk to me in the comments what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below what you think about this whole situation, too. It is weird, I get that, but again, I want to hear what you have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. I already said that. I don't care, though. And bye.